Alright, welcome back again to Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2. Today we have some further reveals from the official developers and the lead directors here, and they actually confirm a bunch of stuff that's going to be coming out in future bigger updates, and also some information about Space Marine 3 and what's coming for the current game and the future. Let's go ahead and jump in and see exactly what they've been talking about. If you guys do enjoy this video, please consider dropping a like down below and subscribing. Let's try to get this video to 300 likes, that'll be absolutely amazing. Otherwise, let's go ahead and jump in and see what's been going on. So, continuing on from yesterday's video and yesterday's developer Q&A, Oliver did go ahead and take to Twitter once again to answer some very interesting questions. The first one here I want to go over is because they actually do speak about some of the new enemies and also Space Marine 3 and what's coming. He says, when you say new enemy on the roadmap, do you mean like, who knows, Norn emissary added or orcs or necrons, which is actually quite interesting, and we would love to see brand new enemy factions. But he did go on to say, basically, it'll be new enemies for the existing factions in the game. Adding a new faction would be a huge undertaking for this game. It's possible but resource intensive and would require narrative justification. Space Marine 3 is wide open for new factions though. So it's basically what I thought as well. Adding a huge new faction like this or a new enemy race does require a lot of resources that the developers at the moment probably do not have. So they're just going to be adding new enemies for the existing factions. But later down the line, maybe in bigger DLCs or even in Space Marine 3 whenever that does get revealed, which is most likely will happen, that's when we're going to see some new factions. Which is obviously kind of sad because I would love to see new factions being added to this game. It just makes the game feel new and so much more. But we'll have to wait and see exactly how that plays out. Next up is kind of something that happened a while ago and it was a bit of a controversial topic, but we're going to be going over it anyway. How come there are no Sisters of Battle Adapters sororities throughout the campaign, considering they are so widespread? On a side note, could they be added in the future as playable characters and customizable characters? Now obviously this was kind of a controversial topic. I even actually asked myself, why is there no female characters in this game? Because most of the time when I play video games, I always tend to play the female character. I don't know why, I just really like playing as a female character. So yeah, this was like a huge controversy, and Oliver does respond to this, saying, this is a common question. We are huge fans of the Sisters and we really wanted to add at least one, but it would have required an entirely new animation set. There are different sides and this is a problematic for us for combat and animations. We really want to make it work in the future though. So yeah, obviously you're going to be adding some female playable characters and stuff like that. So we'll just have to wait and see in future updates or maybe just Space Marine 3. I would love to see some female characters in this game. Next up, we are going to be talking about future enemies as well and some new animations and finishes. Now the only concerning thing that Oliver does reply quite often to these is the topic of resources. Let's talk about it. So he says, this person saying, will there be more finisher animations or at least more variations? I love the knife finishers, but Xenothrope, Scarab, Occult Terminator, and Reveners all have only one each. Again, he does reply by saying, it's possible, but as always, it's a case of resources. I actually want to talk about that in just a second. We have to carefully choose where to invest time and maximum effect. There are new enemies coming in the roadmap though, that will spice things up for sure. Now considering the game did have like an $80 version that a lot of people bought, over like 300,000 people did buy that one, and then obviously the original $60 game. They must have a lot of money. Now money will get you more resources, able to hire more employees and have a lot of more backup to create more. Now, is the case of resource limitations just a cop-out? I really don't know, but they really do have the affordability now. Another one talking about some future weapons and also some of the new races. He says, I got two. One, I'm not that deep into the lore, but will orcs make a return? Two, will old weapons like the Stormbolter be coming back from the previous game? Oliver does respond by saying, as for orcs, that would have to be something for future if we choose to go down the route. Who knows? As for weapons, we have a lot of IP restrictions on what we can and can't use with different characters and armor types. Will there be more weapons though? For sure. Alright, so we are going to be getting new weapons. Obviously, that's kind of what I was thinking anyway, but in terms of brand new characters, obviously going back to the previous comments, it's probably gonna be in Space Marine 3. Talking about the Dreadnaughts, this guy does respond by saying, "Congrats on the great launch. Is there any chance in the future for us to play as the Dreadnaughts in operations, even if briefly?" He does respond by saying, "It's currently something we've considered, though it would take some serious balancing to make it work." Now, I don't really think it does require a lot of balancing. Yes, the Dreadnought is very powerful, but he does say even if briefly, maybe there's like a certain part in the game or the operation for maybe about 3 minutes, 5 minutes that you can play as the Dreadnought just for a little bit of fun. I would definitely love to do that. Maybe I would actually play this certain operation over and over again if I can play as a Dreadnought, just for a couple of minutes, maybe in like protecting a certain zone in the operation and you can play as one. That would be so cool. I absolutely love the Dreadnaughts, and the lore behind them is kind of crazy. Another one coming here, would there be any way you could add the Chaos Space Marines some customizations as well? And while you are at it, what about getting them to co-op PvE as well, telling their side of the story, similar to how Armageddon does with the Orcs? Oliver does respond by saying there are lots of requests for more Chaos customization, so it's likely we'll see it eventually. Chaos stories would be cool, but we'll have to see. I'd love to tell their end side of the story. Yeah, that would definitely actually be pretty cool, just to see different sides of the story to Warhammer 40k. Yeah, definitely an interesting and a topic that people do want to see as well. Lastly, I want to go over this Reddit post that has a lot of conversation happening behind it with almost 3,000 upvotes, and it's a conversation that we want to talk about as well. He does say, PvE operations is where the longevity of the game is. Don't get me wrong, the PvP is fun, but to me, it feels very much like a PS3/360 era experience of it being an additional fun feature of the package rather than the focus. And to be honest, yeah, I feel the exact same. It's kind of like Gears of War, for example. It wasn't the main part of the game, but people still absolutely love the PvP in there. The coolest elements, the power, fantasy, and spectacle of Space Marine 2 is in PvE, where you and your brothers beat impossible odds with ultra violence. The finishers, parrying, dodges, swarms, and teamwork comes into focus in PvE against NPCs. It is really good and scratches an itch similar but different than Dark Tide. I hope they focus more to ops missions, enemies, bosses, and etc. Now, yeah, most likely Space Marine 2 is going to be heavily focused on PvE and not so much on PvP, as we hope that is the case. Yeah, sure, PvP is fun and I do enjoy it, and I wish there is more additions to the different game types, and we're obviously going to be seeing that. But in PvE, I really hope we get further campaign missions, further operation missions, because there's only 6 right now. I hope we see in the next updates, bigger updates, that they include like another 3 operations at least. More is better, but PvE is most likely going to be the main focus of this game. Hope to see more updates for that. And that's going to be it for this video. I hope that we brought some more insights into what's going on in the backgrounds of the game and the future of the game, talking about weapons, enemies, factions, and future updates for Space Marine 2 and 3. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and let me down in the comments what you think is gonna be the move for this game. Is it gonna be PvP or PvE? Most likely PvE, but let's have the conversation anyway. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you all on the next one.